In a world that thrives on constant validation and the ever-present need to be understood, there is a quiet power that resides in the ability to stand firm in one's thoughts, actions, and decisions without the need for explanation. Why strong minds don't explain themselves is a journey into understanding this power, the strength that comes from clarity of thought, a deep-rooted confidence, and an unwavering sense of self. You've heard it 1,000 times. You should explain yourself. Justify your actions. Make sure people understand you. But have you ever wondered, what if the most powerful form of self-assurance comes from silence? What if the ultimate strength lies not in offering explanations, but in simply being? This book isn't just about not explaining yourself. It's about mastering the inner workings of your mind, and on understanding the psychology of confidence, and embracing the concept that you, as you are, do not owe anyone an explanation for your beliefs, your actions, or your decisions. It's about cultivating the strength to walk through life, not with the need to be understood by everyone, but with a sense of inner peace that doesn't require approval. Through this audiobook, you will explore the psychology behind why people feel the need to explain themselves, how that need often stems from insecurity, and the transformational power of understanding and accepting yourself as you are. We will take a deep dive into the strategies and mindsets that allow you to stand unshaken, no matter the external pressures to conform or justify. The strong mind, after all, doesn't explain. It simply is. See Chapter 1, The Myth of Explanation. There is a universal truth buried deep within the psyche of human behavior. We all seek approval. It's woven into our social fabric and has helped us survive in a world that thrives on interaction, connection, and community. Approval is a form of validation, and for many it is the key to feeling seen and heard. But what happens when the need for validation goes too far? When you find yourself constantly explaining your actions, beliefs, or decisions to others? What is truly at play? From the moment we're born, we are shaped by the responses we get from others. Our parents, our friends, our teachers, they all guide us, shaping how we perceive ourselves and our place in the world. As we grow older, we begin to internalize these responses. They teach us to value external approval. They tell us that if we explain ourselves well enough, we'll be understood and thus accepted. But there's a flaw in this logic. The more we try to explain ourselves, the less clarity we achieve. Explanation often comes from a place of insecurity. The act of explaining, especially when it feels compulsive, is a clear signal that you're not fully confident in your decisions. It implies that the other person's opinion has the power to sway you. The truth is, the strongest people in any room don't need to explain themselves. They simply exist, knowing that their worth doesn't hinge on the acceptance of others. Think of the most powerful people in history, the ones who shaped the world with their actions and ideas. Were they constantly explaining themselves? No. Figures like Martin Luther King Jr., Oprah Winfrey, and Steve Jobs didn't waste time justifying their decisions to others. They moved with an unwavering certainty that came from within. They knew their purpose. They understood the weight of their words and actions, and that internal certainty shielded them from the need for validation. Now take a moment to reflect on your own life. How often do you find yourself explaining your actions or decisions? Is it because you're seeking understanding, or is it because you fear judgment? Are you truly confident in your beliefs, or are you worried that others might not see things your way? Understanding this difference is the first step in cultivating a strong mind. When you grasp that the need to explain often arises from insecurity, you can start to recognize the pattern and break free from it. Real strength isn't about persuading others to see your point of view. It's about standing firm in your truth, regardless of whether others understand or agree. Breaking free from the need to explain. Now that we've examined the roots of why we often feel compelled to explain ourselves, it's time to consider how we can break free from this pattern and embrace a more empowered way of thinking. Imagine for a moment that you are in a room full of people and you make a decision, perhaps something as simple as choosing a particular color for a project or opting for a different route in a conversation. Immediately, you sense the judgmental glances. There's a small part of you that begins to wonder, did I make the right choice? Then another part kicks in, whispering, heck, you should explain why you did that. It's the knee-jerk reaction of trying to justify your actions, to smooth over any potential discomfort or disapproval. This is the moment where you can choose a different path. Instead of falling into the cycle of self-justification, ask yourself, why do I need to explain this? This moment right here is the key to your transformation. When you stop to ask yourself why you feel the need to explain your decisions, it forces you to confront the truth. Most often, the answer lies in the desire for external approval, a craving for acceptance that has been conditioned into you from an early age. But the real question is this: why should your sense of self-worth depend on the approval of others? The strong mind doesn't require external validation. It knows its value intrinsically. This is where discipline and mental resilience come into play. Instead of relying on other people's perceptions, you focus inward, cultivating the confidence that you are enough, as you are, without needing to explain yourself. To break free from the habit of explaining yourself, you must practice the art of self-assurance. It begins with understanding that your decisions, beliefs, and actions don't need to be validated by others in order to be valuable. This requires consistency in reinforcing your worth and the discipline to stand firm in your choices. Take a moment to think about how often you find yourself justifying your actions to others. Reflect on whether these explanations are truly necessary. Are you explaining your actions because it benefits you, or are you trying to shield yourself from judgment? When you recognize that the need to explain is born from fear, you can begin to see it for what it truly is, a hindrance to your growth. Now let's consider the practical application of this mindset shift. The first step is to stop immediately when you feel the urge to explain yourself. Instead of offering an explanation, try simply stating your truth, calmly and confidently. For example, if someone questions why you chose a particular decision, you could respond with, "I believe this is the best choice," and leave it at that. You don't owe anyone an explanation, and you certainly don't need to justify yourself to anyone. This doesn't mean you should be dismissive or arrogant, but rather that you should stand firm in your decisions without constantly seeking the approval of others. Over time, this practice will become second nature. You'll develop the inner strength to hold your ground, knowing that your worth doesn't hinge on others understanding your every move. As you continue on this path, you'll notice a shift. Your self-assurance will grow, your confidence will expand, and with that confidence, you'll stop caring about whether people get you. Instead, you'll focus on being true to yourself, and that's where true power lies. Chapter 2: The Psychology of Confidence. True confidence is an internal state of being, one that radiates from a place of deep self-assurance, unshaken by the judgments or opinions of others. It's the quiet power that comes from knowing your value, your worth, and your purpose. But this kind of confidence is not something that can be faked. It is not a mask or a facade you can wear to impress others. It is cultivated from within, shaped by your beliefs, your actions, and your choices. So where does true confidence come from? To understand true confidence, we must first look at the psychology of the self, the inner workings of how we perceive ourselves. Every thought we think, every decision we make, and every word we speak is colored by our self-concept. Our self-concept is the lens through which we view the world and ourselves. It is built over time from the feedback we receive, the experiences we have, and the meanings we assign to those experiences. Think about a time when you felt completely confident. Maybe it was when you achieved something significant, or perhaps it was when you made a decision that felt aligned with your values. In those moments, you were deeply connected to your inner sense of self. You didn't need to explain yourself to anyone, nor did you feel the need for validation. You simply knew that what you were doing was right, and that inner clarity gave you the confidence to move forward. On the flip side, consider a time when you felt uncertain or insecure. Perhaps you were faced with judgment or criticism, and in those moments, you found yourself seeking explanations or justifications for your actions. This is the opposite of confidence. When we feel uncertain, our self-concept is shaken. We begin to question our choices and seek external validation to reassure ourselves. The key to understanding true confidence lies in the relationship between your self-concept and the need for external validation. Those who are truly confident do not rely on others to validate their self-worth. Their self-concept is not shaped by the opinions or judgments of others, but by their own beliefs and actions. This type of confidence is not something that can be obtained overnight. It is built through consistent practice, self-awareness, and reflection. It requires you to stop relying on external factors to define your worth and instead start cultivating a strong, unwavering sense of self from within. To begin cultivating true confidence, start by asking yourself a few important questions. What do I truly believe about myself? What are the qualities that I value in myself, and how can I nurture those qualities? How can I make decisions that align with my values, regardless of what others might think? True confidence comes from the ability to align your actions with your beliefs, even when others may not understand or agree with you. It is about embracing your individuality, your uniqueness, and standing firm in your identity. When you stop looking outside yourself for validation and start looking within, you unlock a new level of power and resilience. This inner confidence isn't just about feeling good about yourself in the moment. It's about creating lasting change in how you approach challenges, relationships, and personal growth. The more you practice this kind of confidence, the more it becomes an intrinsic part of who you are. And when that happens, you won't feel the need to explain yourself to anyone. Your confidence will be so solid, so deeply rooted, that it will radiate outward and inspire those around you without a single word. The mindset shift from external validation to internal assurance. Once you begin to understand the foundation of true confidence, and the next step is to make the conscious choice to shift your mindset from seeking external validation to relying on internal assurance. This shift is crucial because as long as you continue to look to others for your self-worth, you will remain at the mercy of their opinions. And as we've explored, no matter how much you try to explain yourself, that external approval will never be enough to fill the void of self-doubt. To truly build confidence, you need to take responsibility for your own self-assurance. This begins with shifting your focus away from the judgments of others and placing it squarely on your own sense of worth. The good news is, this process is entirely within your control. No one else can dictate how you feel about yourself unless you allow them to. Let's break down this shift and explore the steps involved. 1. Understanding your value beyond opinions. One of the biggest obstacles to confidence is the belief that your value is dependent on how others perceive you. In other words, we often tie our self-worth to external factors such as approval, praise, or validation from others. This leads to a cycle of needing to explain ourselves in an attempt to secure that approval. But consider this: your worth doesn't change based on what others think of you. It is constant, inherent, and unshakable. The moment you realize that your value is independent of others' opinions is the moment you free yourself from the need to explain. Think about a priceless work of art. It holds value regardless of whether people admire it or not. Its worth doesn't change based on the gallery's popularity or whether critics offer praise. It simply is. The same is true for you. Watch, you are valuable, not because someone else says you are, but because you exist with a unique set of skills, thoughts, and experiences that no one else possesses. When you start to internalize this truth, you begin to realize that the need to explain yourself fades. Why explain something that is already understood? Why justify something that is already valuable? The answer is simple: you don't need to. 2. Building the habit of self-validation. Self-validation is the practice of recognizing and affirming your own worth, decisions, and actions without needing anyone else to confirm them for you. It's a practice that starts with self-awareness and leads to inner peace and confidence. One of the most effective ways to build self-validation is through reflection. After making decisions or taking action, rather than seeking external validation, is to take a moment to reflect on why you made the choice. What was your thought process? What values or goals were guiding you? When you can connect your actions to your internal values, you begin to see the merit in your decisions, regardless of others' reactions. For instance, imagine you made a decision at work that others may not fully understand. Instead of feeling compelled to explain yourself, reflect on why you made that choice. Did it align with your values? Was it a step toward your personal or professional growth? When you answer these questions with honesty and clarity, you will find that the need to justify your decisions to others diminishes. The key here is repetition. The more you practice self-validation, the stronger this habit becomes. You'll find that over time, you no longer feel the need to explain your actions to anyone. Your sense of worth and clarity will be rooted so deeply within you that external approval will no longer be a factor in your decision-making. 3. Embracing the silence of confidence. As we move forward, it's important to understand that true confidence often speaks in silence. The most powerful minds are those that do not need to fill the space with words in order to validate themselves. Instead, they let their actions and presence speak for them. There's an old saying, "A wise man speaks because he has something to say. A fool speaks because he has to say something." This truth holds profound meaning when it comes to the psychology of confidence. Aronena, the strong mind does not explain itself constantly because it knows its worth and has no need to fill the space with unnecessary words. When you embrace this silent confidence, you begin to project a quiet power that commands respect without saying a word. You stop needing to justify your every move, and you start letting your actions, results, and calm demeanor speak for you. Think about the calm confidence of someone who enters a room without speaking. Their presence alone carries weight. This is the power of silence. When you no longer feel the need to explain yourself, you begin to embody this silent confidence. Chapter 3. The Power of Discipline and Consistency. Confidence doesn't come from wishful thinking or fleeting moments of courage. It is built upon a solid foundation of discipline and consistency. These two elements are the cornerstones of a strong mind and unshakable self-assurance. When we think about the truly confident individuals in our lives, those who seem to carry themselves with an effortless calm and certainty, we often overlook the unseen work behind their confidence. This quiet strength isn't magic. It's the result of consistent habits, the practice of doing things that cultivate resilience, mental fortitude, and self-reliance. These habits form a daily rhythm that reinforces their belief in themselves and their ability to navigate life's challenges. At the heart of it, true confidence is not about occasional bursts of self-assurance. It's about the cumulative effect of small, consistent actions that reinforce your belief in your own abilities. Confidence grows through repeated action, not through grand gestures. Consider a runner training for a marathon. They don't build their stamina by occasionally running long distances. They build it by consistently training day after day, pushing their body and mind to go farther and endure longer. Every small step, every mile, adds to their strength and confidence. Over time, this becomes a habit ingrained into their muscle memory. The same is true for your mindset. Building mental strength and confidence requires consistent practice. It requires you to make choices every day that align with your goals and values. It's the small, seemingly insignificant decisions that compound into greater self-assurance. 2. The importance of daily habits. It's easy to overlook the power of daily habits, but they are, in fact, the building blocks of a strong mind. Small, intentional actions taken each day, even when no one is watching, are the things that shape who we are. The way you start your morning, the way you talk to yourself, the commitments you make and keep. All of these influence your self-concept and, by extension, your confidence. Let's break this down into tangible examples. Every time you follow through on something you said you would do, you are reinforcing a belief in yourself. When you set a goal and consistently work toward it, whether it's in your personal or professional life, you strengthen the foundation of your confidence. This could be something as simple as committing to a daily workout, sticking to a study schedule, or dedicating time to personal growth. These actions, though small, are the seeds that grow into long-lasting confidence. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who is capable and reliable. Each time you keep a commitment to yourself, it adds to your sense of self-worth and helps you build resilience against the need for external validation. But here's where many people fall short. They expect confidence to appear overnight. They want to feel confident now, but they haven't laid the foundation for it. It's like trying to build a house on sand instead of solid ground. Confidence isn't something that can be summoned on command. It's something that is nurtured day by day through consistent effort and small wins. If you want to start building this foundation of confidence, ask yourself, what are the small, consistent actions I can take each day to reinforce my self-belief? What habits can I cultivate that will lead me toward greater mental strength? Remember, what you're not looking for immediate results. The key is consistency. Over time, the more you show up for yourself, the more confident you will become. The process of building confidence through consistency is not glamorous. It's not about quick fixes or dramatic transformations. It's about the quiet, persistent work that adds up over time. The more you make the right decisions consistently, the stronger your mental muscle will become. And before you know it, you'll realize that you no longer feel the need to explain yourself. Your confidence will speak for itself. The role of resilience in developing strength. Resilience is a quality often associated with strong minds and confident individuals. But what is resilience, and how does it contribute to the development of a powerful, unwavering sense of self-assurance? At its core, a resilience is the ability to withstand adversity and recover quickly from challenges or setbacks. It's about maintaining composure, finding your footing, and continuing to move forward, no matter how difficult the circumstances. Resilience is what allows you to remain steady and confident in the face of uncertainty, failure, or even criticism. You've likely encountered setbacks in your life, moments where things didn't go according to plan, or when you felt like giving up. But the true test of strength isn't how you handle success, it's how you respond to failure. Strong minds don't shrink when things get tough. They don't crumble under pressure or try to explain away their missteps. Instead, they lean into the discomfort, learn from it, and use it as a stepping stone for growth. I think of the most successful people you know or admire, whether in business, sports, or any other field. The one thing they all share is resilience. They didn't achieve their success by avoiding failure or explaining their actions away when things went wrong. They succeeded because they bounced back from their mistakes. They viewed failure as part of the process, not a reflection of their worth. This mindset is essential in developing the confidence to stop explaining yourself. The more resilient you become, the less you will feel the need to justify your actions. Why? Because resilience strengthens your belief in your ability to overcome challenges, learn from your experiences, and move forward with greater clarity and resolve. Consider how resilience works in real-life scenarios. Imagine you're working on a project and, well, despite your best efforts, things don't go as planned. Maybe the project is delayed or an unexpected problem arises. In this moment, you have two choices. You can either dwell on the setback and feel the need to explain why things went wrong, or you can acknowledge the setback, learn from it, and keep pushing forward. Resilience isn't about avoiding mistakes or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about how you respond when things don't go as expected. It's about learning to roll with the punches and maintain your focus on your ultimate goal. It's about not allowing temporary setbacks to derail your sense of self-worth or make you feel like you have to justify your every move. The more resilient you become, the less you'll feel the need to explain yourself. Why explain yourself when you know you'll rise again, ne'er stronger than before? Why justify your decisions when you're confident in your ability to overcome any obstacle? Building resilience takes time and effort. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's certainly not something that can be cultivated in a vacuum. Resilience is built through consistent practice, just like confidence. It's about facing challenges head-on, refusing to let setbacks define you, and committing to a mindset of growth. Every time you face a challenge and persevere, you add another layer of resilience to your mental foundation. Chapter 4. The Power of Silence. In a world that thrives on constant noise and the ceaseless demand for attention, there is an often overlooked power in silence. Silence is not a lack of expression. It is an intentional choice to reserve your energy for what truly matters. A quiet confidence is not about shying away from the world or remaining passive. Rather, it is about knowing when to speak and when to remain silent, understanding that your presence, your actions, and your inner strength often speak louder than words ever could. In the context of personal development and mental strength, silence becomes a tool, one that cultivates a powerful sense of self-assurance. It's the quiet assurance that you do not need to explain, justify, or convince anyone of your worth. You simply are, and that in itself carries profound strength. There's an inherent strength in someone who knows when to remain silent. It's a skill that many people misunderstand, thinking that silence equates to weakness or insecurity. But in reality, silence can be one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. It signals to the world that you are in control of your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions. You don't feel the need to fill every silence with words because you are comfortable with your own thoughts. You are secure in your decisions, and you understand that not every thought or action requires a detailed explanation. This doesn't mean you are disconnected or unapproachable. Rather, it's a sign of maturity, emotional intelligence, and strength. You're not constantly seeking approval, nor are you trying to convince others to see things your way. Your strength lies in your ability to be yourself, regardless of how others perceive you. Think about the most influential people throughout history, the ones whose ideas and actions have shaped the course of the world. Many of these figures were known for their quiet, unassuming confidence. If they didn't feel the need to explain their every move, they let their actions speak for themselves. Consider these Stoic philosophers, for example. Figures like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca didn't spend their lives explaining their philosophies to others. They embodied the principles of Stoicism in the way they lived. Their lives were their message. They understood the power of quiet strength, and they didn't waste time justifying their beliefs. Their silence wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a sign of inner peace and confidence. In modern times, think of influential leaders, innovators, and even spiritual figures who speak little but have a profound impact on the world around them. Their silence speaks volumes. It conveys a sense of calm, clarity, and unwavering belief in their mission. Now think about yourself. How often do you feel the need to fill silence with words? How often do you feel the urge to explain yourself or your decisions to others? What if, instead of justifying your actions, you allowed your presence and your results to do the talking for you? By embracing the power of silence, you can develop the strength to walk through the world with the quiet confidence of those who know their worth and don't need to explain it to anyone. In the next part, we will explore how silence can become a tool of empowerment in your daily life, helping you to cultivate a sense of inner peace and clarity that doesn't require the validation of others. Embracing the silence within. To truly harness the power of silence, you must first cultivate a deep understanding of your own inner world. The world is noisy, endlessly filled with distractions, opinions, and the constant hum of activity. We are bombarded daily with expectations to speak, perform, and explain ourselves to others. But the moment you begin to embrace silence, you start to reclaim your own space and energy. 1. The inner silence. Your foundation of strength. The first step in mastering the power of silence is learning how to silence the noise within yourself. We often believe that being constantly active, speaking or explaining, is the key to success or to being understood. But true power is found in the stillness of your own mind. When you create moments of inner silence, you begin to connect with your deeper self, your authentic thoughts, desires, and feelings. Inner silence is not about forcing yourself into a state of inactivity. It's about learning how to quiet the chatter of the mind that demands your constant attention. The voice that tells you to justify your actions, to be more than you are, to explain yourself over and over again. Imagine for a moment that you're walking through a forest. The trees are tall, the air is fresh, and the world is quiet. You can hear the soft rustling of leaves, the distant chirp of birds, and the occasional crack of a branch underfoot. It's a peaceful, serene moment where the noise of the world fades away, leaving only the pure, calming presence of nature. This is what inner silence feels like. It's not the absence of sound, but the absence of the mental noise that constantly distracts you from being present in your own life. When you begin to practice inner silence, you learn to tune out the distractions of the external world and focus on what truly matters: your own thoughts, feelings, and decisions. You no longer feel the need to constantly explain or justify yourself to others because you trust in your own process. You trust that your actions are aligned with your inner truth, and that's all that matters. 2. Silence as a tool for clarity and reflection. Silence offers clarity. When the mind is quiet, free from the constant pull of external influences, you can see things more clearly. You can evaluate your choices, your actions, and your thoughts without the interference of judgment or fear. Many people make decisions based on impulse, emotion, or the opinions of others. They speak because they feel it's expected of them, or they explain themselves because they fear being misunderstood. But silence provides the space to step back and reflect on your decisions. It allows you to tap into your intuition and discern what feels right for you, without the need for external validation. Let's say you faced a challenging situation where you had to make a tough decision. In moments like this, the first instinct is often to seek reassurance from others. You may feel compelled to explain your reasoning or justify your choice. But what if, instead of rushing to fill the space with words, you took a moment of silence to reflect? In that stillness, you might realize that your decision was rooted in your values, in your long-term goals, or in your deep understanding of the situation. This realization doesn't require explanation. It simply is. And in this clarity, you'll find the confidence to move forward without needing to explain yourself to anyone. The more you embrace this practice of inner reflection, the less you'll feel the need to justify your decisions to others. 3. Using silence to empower your actions. The greatest minds throughout history, those who shaped cultures, societies, and industries, were not defined by their need to explain themselves. Instead, they were defined by their actions. They let their results speak for them. Silence in this context becomes a tool of empowerment. Imagine an artist working in their studio. The artist doesn't explain each brushstroke or justify the vision behind the work. They don't need to explain why they chose a certain color or shape. The power of their creation speaks for itself. The same is true for your actions. Your strength lies in your ability to act with purpose, guided by your own inner truth, without needing others to understand or approve. When you embrace silence in your actions, must you allow your results to speak for you. You no longer waste time explaining, justifying, or defending your decisions. Your confidence is evident in your ability to take action without hesitation, knowing that you are in alignment with your deeper self. This is where true empowerment comes from, acting from a place of inner conviction and allowing your actions to stand as proof of your strength. Chapter 5. The Influence of Boundaries. Boundaries are often misunderstood in our fast-paced, highly connected world. They are seen by many as barriers, walls that separate us from others or limit our interactions. But in truth, boundaries are not about keeping people away. They are about protecting your own mental space and fostering a healthier, more balanced relationship with the world around you. When you begin to truly understand your value in the power of silence, the next step is to establish and honor your boundaries. Boundaries are essential for creating the mental clarity and emotional space necessary to cultivate strong minds. Without boundaries, we open ourselves up to constant external noise, and we allow the demands of others to dictate our emotional state. This not only leads to confusion and frustration, but also diminishes our ability to think clearly and act confidently. In the context of personal development, boundaries are an expression of self-respect. They are a way of communicating to yourself and to others what is acceptable and what is not. Without clear boundaries, we can become overwhelmed by the expectations of others, and this constant need to meet external demands can lead to stress, burnout, and an ongoing sense of being misunderstood. Imagine you're at a party, surrounded by loud music and people talking over each other. It's chaotic, and you feel yourself starting to lose your sense of calm. In this situation, a lack of boundaries would mean that you allow the noise, the conversation, and the pressure of the crowd to dictate how you feel. However, if you've set a boundary, if you've decided in advance that you won't let external factors disrupt your peace, you can remain calm, even in the midst of chaos. You can take a step back, center yourself, and engage with the situation from a place of internal strength, rather than being swept away by the noise around you. The same concept applies to your life as a whole. Boundaries are not about shutting yourself off from others. They are about giving yourself the space to think, to breathe, and to act without being constantly pulled in different directions by the demands of the world. 2. The link between boundaries and confidence. Strong minds understand that boundaries are not a form of weakness. They are an expression of strength. Setting boundaries requires clarity, discipline, and a deep sense of self-respect. It means knowing what you need, what you can tolerate, and where your emotional limits lie. It means having the courage to say no when necessary and the wisdom to say yes to the things that align with your values. Think about a time when you set a boundary, whether it was in your personal life, at work, or with a friend. Maybe you said no to something that didn't align with your goals or values, or maybe you asked for space when you were feeling overwhelmed. How did that make you feel? Did it feel empowering, or did you second guess yourself? For many, the idea of setting boundaries can initially feel uncomfortable. It can feel like you're being too harsh or selfish. But in reality, boundaries are a sign of self-respect. They reflect a clear understanding that you are worthy of peace, space, and time to grow. And when you set boundaries, you signal to others that you value yourself enough to protect your mental and emotional well-being. By setting and honoring boundaries, you build confidence in yourself and your ability to manage your energy, your time, and your emotional state. Boundaries allow you to prioritize what truly matters rather than being constantly pulled in multiple directions. They help you preserve your mental clarity and strength in giving you the freedom to make decisions that are aligned with your inner values, not the expectations of others. Protecting your energy with boundaries. Once you've grasped the power of setting boundaries for mental clarity and emotional health, the next step is to truly understand how boundaries serve to protect your energy. Every interaction, every conversation, and every decision you make consumes energy, whether you're aware of it or not. The stronger and more disciplined your mind becomes, the more you need to guard your energy, as it's the driving force behind your actions, your decisions, and your ability to remain calm under pressure. In a world that thrives on external demands, it's easy to become depleted. People pull on your time, your attention, and your emotions, and without clear boundaries, your energy can be easily drained. This happens when you constantly give without replenishing yourself, when you engage in situations that leave you feeling mentally or emotionally exhausted, or when you allow others to invade your personal space without regard for your needs. The act of setting boundaries is essentially a form of self-preservation. It's the practice of recognizing your limits and taking proactive steps to ensure that your energy is only expended on what truly matters. Boundaries help you to distinguish between what is yours to handle and what belongs to others. They empower you to protect your mental and emotional well-being, which in turn supports your confidence and strength. Think about your day-to-day life. How many times do you allow others' expectations, requests, or emotional needs to override your own? How often do you agree to things that don't align with your values or take on responsibilities that drain your energy? If you're like most people, the answer may be often. But the key to protecting your energy lies in learning to say no when necessary and setting limits that allow you to preserve your resources for the things that truly matter. Let's say you're at work and a colleague constantly interrupts you with questions or requests that aren't urgent or aligned with your priorities. Without boundaries, it's easy to get pulled into these distractions, leaving you mentally exhausted and behind on your own work. But if you've established a boundary, such as setting specific times when you're available for questions or politely declining non-urgent interruptions, you're able to protect your energy and maintain focus on your own goals. Mino, this principle applies to all areas of your life. In your personal relationships, it's important to establish boundaries that protect your emotional well-being. If someone continually takes more than they give, draining your energy with their constant demands, it's crucial to recognize that you don't have to engage in every interaction on their terms. You have the right to step back, reassess, and protect your mental and emotional energy by saying no when it's needed. By setting these boundaries, you also teach others how to treat you. When you allow people to repeatedly cross your boundaries without consequence, you send the message that you don't value your own time and energy. However, when you firmly establish your limits and honor them consistently, you show others that you respect yourself and expect the same respect in return. The ripple effect of boundaries. What's powerful about boundaries is that their effects are not confined to just your personal well-being. Setting boundaries has a ripple effect that impacts everyone around you. When you start honoring your own boundaries, you begin to create a culture of respect and mutual understanding in your relationships. By honoring your energy and emotional needs, you demonstrate to others how to respect their own boundaries as well. You become a model for healthy self-care, teaching those around you that it's not only okay to set limits, but that it's necessary for personal growth and well-being. Furthermore, when you protect your energy, You allow yourself to be more present and focused in the areas that matter most. You'll find that you're able to give more to the people and causes that truly align with your values because you've made the intentional decision to preserve your energy for what matters. This creates a positive feedback loop where you are energized, empowered, and able to contribute more meaningfully to the world around you. You no longer feel drained, overwhelmed, or resentful because you've created space for yourself to grow and thrive, free from the weight of other people's expectations. Chapter 6. The Impact of Self-Awareness. Self-awareness is the bedrock of a strong mind. Without self-awareness, we live in a constant state of reaction, driven by emotions, external influences, and the judgments of others. We become swept away by the currents of life, unable to steer our own course. But once you develop self-awareness, you gain the ability to navigate life with purpose, confidence, and clarity. At its core, self-awareness is the ability to understand your own thoughts, emotions, motivations, and behaviors. It's the practice of being deeply connected to your inner world, understanding what drives you, what holds you back, and what makes you feel truly alive. Self-awareness allows you to see your strengths and weaknesses clearly, and it provides the foundation for building mental strength and emotional resilience. But here's the catch. Self-awareness requires brutal honesty. It's not just about recognizing your strengths or the positive aspects of your personality. It's about acknowledging your flaws, your fears, and your insecurities. It's about being willing to face the uncomfortable truths about yourself, and having the courage to accept them without judgment. True self-awareness goes beyond the surface level. It's not just about knowing what you like or don't like. It's about understanding why you feel the way you do and where those feelings come from. It's about uncovering the patterns in your thoughts and behaviors and recognizing the impact they have on your life. For example, think about a time when you felt triggered by someone's words or actions. Did you immediately react, or did you take a step back to reflect on why you felt the way you did? If you reacted instantly, it's likely that you weren't fully aware of the underlying emotions that drove your response. But if you paused to reflect, you may have realized that your reaction came from a place of insecurity, fear, or past experience. This is the power of self-awareness. When it gives you the ability to pause before you react, to assess the situation, and to choose a response that aligns with your true values. Rather than being swept away by emotions or external pressures, self-awareness allows you to respond with clarity and confidence. 2. The link between self-awareness and confidence. Self-awareness is the key that unlocks true confidence. When you are fully aware of who you are, what you stand for, and what drives you, you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to others. Your confidence comes from knowing that your decisions, actions, and beliefs are aligned with your true self. Think about a person who is confident in their choices, who seems to have a sense of calm and clarity in everything they do. This person is not confident because they have all the answers or because they've figured out life completely. They are confident because they know themselves deeply. They understand their strengths and weaknesses, and they've learned to accept themselves as they are, without needing to seek approval from others. Self-awareness gives you the clarity to act without hesitation. It allows you to make decisions from a place of confidence, because you know they are aligned with your values and purpose. You no longer second-guess yourself or seek external validation for your choices. You trust yourself. This kind of confidence doesn't come from pretending to be perfect or having all the answers. It comes from a deep understanding of your true self, your desires, your fears, your goals, and your limitations. When you embrace self-awareness, will you embrace the power to be unapologetically you, without the need to explain yourself or justify your actions to others? Self-awareness also allows you to recognize the areas in which you need growth. Rather than viewing your weaknesses as flaws, you can see them as opportunities for self-improvement. You understand that confidence is not about being perfect, but about being authentic and committed to growth. In this chapter, we've seen that true confidence is built from within. It's not about impressing others or constantly seeking approval. It's about aligning with your true self and trusting your own judgment. And that trust in yourself is rooted in the powerful foundation of self-awareness. Using self-awareness to strengthen your mind. Now that we've explored the importance of self-awareness and its role in building confidence, the next step is understanding how to use self-awareness as a tool for strengthening your mind. The more deeply you understand yourself, the more control you have over your actions, decisions, and emotional responses. Self-awareness becomes the anchor that allows you to stay grounded, even in turbulent situations. 1. Recognizing and overcoming negative thought patterns. One of the most powerful ways to use self-awareness is by recognizing and addressing the negative thought patterns that can undermine your confidence. These are the recurring thoughts that tell you you're not good enough, that you don't deserve success, or that you'll never be able to reach your goals. These thoughts can be so ingrained that you don't even recognize them as they occur. But once you become aware of them, you can begin to challenge them and reframe your thinking. For example, imagine you're faced with a challenge, a new project at work, a difficult conversation, or an important decision. If your first thought is, "I'm not good enough for this," or "I'm going to fail," that's a negative thought pattern. But self-awareness gives you the ability to step back and recognize that thought. Instead of accepting it as truth, you can question it. Is this thought based on fact, or is it rooted in insecurity or fear? By recognizing these patterns, you can begin to replace them with more empowering beliefs. Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," you might choose to think, "I am capable of handling this challenge because I have the skills and experience to succeed." This simple shift in mindset can have a profound impact on your confidence. Of what you no longer feel paralyzed by negative thoughts because you've learned to challenge them and replace them with more supportive beliefs. This process of identifying and reframing negative thoughts takes practice. But the more you do it, the stronger your mind becomes. Self-awareness allows you to catch yourself in the act of negative thinking, and with consistent effort, you can shift those thoughts into a positive direction. 2. Developing emotional regulation. Self-awareness also plays a crucial role in emotional regulation. Life is filled with ups and downs, and it's easy to become overwhelmed by emotions like anger, frustration, or sadness. These emotions are a natural part of being human, but they don't have to dictate your actions or your sense of self-worth. Emotional regulation is the ability to recognize, understand, own, and manage your emotions in a healthy way. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging them, understanding why they're there, and then choosing how to respond. For instance, let's say you receive criticism at work. Your immediate emotional response might be defensiveness or frustration, but with self-awareness, you can recognize that emotional reaction before it takes control. You can pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, why do I feel this way? What part of this criticism is valid, and what part is simply my ego reacting? This moment of reflection allows you to regulate your emotions and respond in a way that is measured and constructive, rather than reacting impulsively. By practicing emotional regulation, you build mental strength. Yet you no longer allow your emotions to control your decisions. Instead, you take the reins and choose how to respond, maintaining your confidence and composure in any situation. 3. Self-awareness in relationships and communication. Another powerful way that self-awareness strengthens your mind is through its impact on relationships and communication. When you are aware of your own thoughts, emotions, and triggers, you become better equipped to navigate interactions with others. For example, consider a situation where someone says something that you find hurtful or offensive. If you're not self-aware, you might immediately react, lashing out in anger or frustration. But if you've developed self-awareness, you can pause and reflect on why that comment triggered you. Is it because of something that person said? Or is it because of a deeper insecurity within yourself? This awareness allows you to respond in a way that is thoughtful and measured, rather than reactive. Self-awareness in relationships also means understanding your own communication style and how it affects others. Are you clear and direct in expressing your needs, or do you tend to hide your feelings out of fear of rejection? Are you a good listener, or are you quick to interrupt or judge? By becoming aware of your communication patterns, you can improve your interactions with others, strengthening both personal and professional relationships. In this way, self-awareness enhances not only your confidence, but your ability to navigate the complexities of human connection with greater ease and understanding. 4. cultivating growth through self-reflection. Lastly, self-awareness enables you to reflect on your experiences and learn from them. Self-reflection is a powerful tool for personal growth. It's about taking the time to step back and consider your actions, decisions, and experiences. What went well? What could you have done differently? What lessons can you take away from this situation? Through self-reflection, you gain insights into your own behavior and thought processes. This allows you to identify areas for improvement and make intentional changes that align with your goals and values. By consistently engaging in self-reflection, you create a cycle of growth that strengthens your mindset and builds your confidence over time. Chapter 7. The Quiet Strength of Unshakable Self-Belief. In the final chapter of this journey, when we explore the profound power that comes from unwavering self-belief, belief that is so solid and grounded, it requires no justification or explanation. This kind of belief doesn't need to be validated by external forces. It exists independently, unshaken by the opinions or judgments of others. It is the culmination of everything we've discussed thus far: the power of silence, the strength of resilience, the importance of self-awareness, and the discipline to maintain consistency. When you reach the point of unshakable self-belief, you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to others. You simply trust yourself. You trust your decisions, your values, your path, and your process. There's no need to justify your choices because you are fully confident in them. Your belief is so deep-rooted that it doesn't require validation from anyone else. It simply is. This level of self-belief is not the result of arrogance or delusion. It's the product of consistent growth, self-reflection, and discipline. It's the natural outcome of understanding your worth, embracing your strengths and weaknesses, and choosing to trust yourself in every circumstance. When you trust yourself in this way, you no longer feel the pressure to explain your actions, beliefs, or decisions. You don't need to seek approval from others. Instead, you act with clarity and conviction, knowing that your choices are aligned with your values and your true self. This is the ultimate power, the strength that comes from within. The beauty of confidence without the need for validation. There is a certain beauty in walking through life with a quiet confidence that comes from believing in yourself without needing others to affirm your worth. It's not about being loud, boastful, or attention-seeking. It's about standing firm in your identity, your purpose, and your decisions, regardless of whether anyone else understands or approves. It's a silent strength that radiates from within, drawing respect without needing to demand it. Think about someone you know who exudes this kind of confidence. They don't need to explain themselves or justify their actions. They don't seek external validation. Their quiet strength is evident in the way they carry themselves and in the decisions they make. There's a calm assurance that accompanies them, a sense of inner peace that doesn't waver. This type of confidence is deeply rooted in self-respect and trust. It's a result of knowing that you are enough, just as you are. And when you reach this level of self-belief, you no longer waste energy explaining yourself. You focus instead on living your truth and following the path that feels right for you. The more you trust yourself, the more your confidence grows, and the more you begin to attract the right people, opportunities, and experiences into your life. 2. The freedom that comes with unshakable belief. The freedom that comes with unshakable self-belief is unlike any other. When you no longer feel the need to explain yourself, you free yourself from the chains of seeking approval and validation. You stop living for the opinions of others, and you start living for your own truth. Watch, this is not to say that you disregard others' perspectives completely. Rather, it means that their opinions no longer have the power to sway you because your belief in yourself is so strong. The freedom that comes with this kind of self-belief is empowering. It allows you to make decisions without hesitation, to follow your intuition with confidence, and to take action without fear of judgment. You become the master of your own life, making choices based on your inner compass rather than the expectations or desires of others. This freedom extends to every area of your life, whether it's in your personal relationships, your career, or your own personal growth. You approach each situation with a sense of purpose and clarity. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself in order to fit into someone else's mold. You trust that the right people will understand and support you, and those who don't simply aren't meant to be part of your journey. As you embrace this freedom, you will notice a shift in the way you interact with the world. You will stop seeking validation from others and start looking inward for affirmation. The more you trust yourself, the more confident and powerful you become. Your actions speak louder than words, and your life begins to reflect the strength of your belief. Conclusion: the strength of being unapologetically you. As we reach the end of this journey, the message is clear. True strength lies in the quiet confidence that comes from not needing to explain yourself to others. It is in the unshakable self-belief that allows you to stand firm in your decisions, actions, and beliefs, knowing that your worth is not determined by anyone else's approval. Throughout this audiobook, we've explored how self-awareness, resilience, discipline, and boundaries all contribute to the development of a strong, confident mind. And now we can add one final layer to this foundation: the power of being unapologetically you. Being unapologetically you doesn't mean being insensitive or dismissive of others. It means living in alignment with your true self. It's about being so secure in who you are that you no longer feel the need to justify your choices or defend your beliefs. You simply live with purpose, knowing that your worth is inherent and doesn't need to be explained to anyone. This journey of cultivating a strong mind, one that doesn't explain itself, is one of continual growth and practice. Honey, it's about showing up for yourself every day, making choices that align with your values, and embracing the quiet strength that comes from within. The more you do this, the more confident you will become, and the more unshakable your self-belief will be. Remember, you are enough. You don't need to explain your worth to anyone. Let your actions, your presence, and your authenticity speak for themselves. When you do this, you will unlock a life of peace, power, and purpose. So what's next for you? Begin to apply the principles you've learned in this audiobook to your own life. Start by taking a step back when you feel the urge to explain yourself. Ask yourself, do I need to justify this, or can I simply trust myself? Practice self-awareness, set boundaries, and embrace the power of silence. Trust that you are enough, just as you are. And before you go, I want to hear from you. What resonated with you most from this journey? How are you planning to stop explaining yourself and embrace your inner strength? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. If you found value in this audiobook, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when new content is released to continue your personal growth journey. Together, let's keep building stronger minds and embracing the confidence that comes from simply being ourselves.